Hi friends, this is Bella, a brave kitty who was rescued while completely paralyzed. She was hit by a car, and instead of stopping to help, the person who hit her threw her away in hatred and drove off. A kind-hearted person witnessed the accident and rushed to save her. He took her to a vet, hoping for help, but after examining her, the vet told him that Bella had internal bleeding and no chance of survival. Shockingly, the vet even advised him to leave her back where he found her. Heartbroken and unwilling to abandon her, the rescuer contacted us for help. He knew Bella deserved a chance. He brought her to our shelter, hoping we could save her. When we rescued Bella, we noticed she was lactating, meaning she had recently given birth. This meant her babies were still out there, waiting for her. We searched the entire area, but sadly, we couldn't find her kittens. Bella was in critical condition and completely paralyzed. Another vet advised us to euthanize her to end her pain. They told us that even if she survived, she might never be able to urinate or pass stool on her own, a life full of suffering, but we refused to give up. Because of the accident, Bella's internal organs were displaced and her bladder was pushed outside. Her condition was extremely critical and the internal bleeding was severe. Despite the odds, we refused to give up and immediately started her treatment, including IV infusions and supportive care. After a few days, she finally started eating a small amount. That day was a joyful moment for us because she finally showed some response. However, helping her urinate was still a major challenge, especially with passing stool. The vet once again suggested euthanasia, as her case was one of the worst cases of urine and stool retention due to the displacement of her organs. But we still held on to hope and continued fighting for her. Just when things felt hopeless, a miracle happened. One evening, as we were tending to the shelter, we heard a faint, desperate cry coming from the garden. At first, it was barely noticeable, but as we followed the sound, we discovered something heartbreaking. A tiny, newborn kitten, barely a day old, lying helplessly on the ground. She was so small, so fragile, and still covered in the birth sac. Her tiny body shivered, and her weak cries were a desperate plea for help. It was clear that she had been abandoned immediately after birth. Her mother was nowhere to be found. She hadn't even been cleaned after birth, and the sac was still attached, making it nearly impossible for her to breathe properly. The sight was gut-wrenching. We rushed her to the vet, carefully carrying her in our hands, trying to keep her warm. The vet gently removed the birth sac, cleaned her up, and checked her vitals. She was alive, but barely. The vet warned us that her chances of survival were slim without a mother to nurse her. That's when we had an idea. What if Bella could be her mother? Despite being paralyzed and critically injured, Bella was still lactating, which meant she had milk to offer. And deep inside, we knew that Bella needed a reason to fight. We brought the tiny kitten to Bella, placing her gently beside her. At first, Bella seemed confused, weak from her pain, but then something magical happened. The moment Bella laid eyes on the kitten, everything changed. Her dull, tired eyes lit up with life. She looked at the tiny baby as if she had found a missing piece of herself. Her expression said it all. "My baby, I will protect you." Despite her pain, Bella immediately started licking the kitten, trying to comfort her. It was as if, in that moment, she made a decision, not just to accept the kitten as her own, but to keep fighting for her. That day, we witnessed the power of love and hope. Against all odds, Bella found a reason to keep going, and this tiny, abandoned baby found a mother who would never leave her. This was just the beginning of their beautiful journey together. Welcomed another orphaned kitten who needed a mother, but heartbreak struck again. The first baby fell sick, and despite all our efforts, we couldn't save him. Bella lost both of her babies. Even through her grief, she kept fighting. Slowly, she started walking a little. Urinating, and especially passing stool, was an extremely difficult task, but I did it with love, even when it caused pain in my hands. Over time, experience and love made it easier. Bella's spirit was unstoppable. She ran around the shelter, played with her friends, but one of her paws remained bent, causing her to limp. Yet, she never gave up. And then, after 4 months of tireless effort, love, and patience, a miracle happened. Bella started walking perfectly, using all 4 legs. And the greatest news, she can now pass urine and stool on her own. Every time I see her running around, healthy and happy, tears of joy fill my eyes. This is not just Bella's victory, it's my success story. To all pet parents, never choose euthanasia too quickly. Give them a chance. Miracles happen when love and hope are stronger than fear. Take care, bye.